1995 was the place to be. We're digging deep, 1 week at a time. Every album, every rhyme. It's more than music, it's a vibe. Come with us, let's take that ride. 52/1995. We're bringing that year back alive. From basement tapes to billboard highs, rewind the sound, relive the drive. Oh, 52/1995. Drop the needle, feel that jive. 1 year, 1 track at a time. Dive, yeah, let's dive. Spinning loud, feel the flash. Britpop dreams and alt rock crash. Hip hop truth, electronic night. Every beat still burns so bright. 52/1995. It's not just songs, it's a time capsule dive. Talking tunes that shaped our lives. Tune and turn up and ride that high, yeah. 52/1995. Weekly drops, we keep it live. Let's rewind the vibe. One album every time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 52/1995, your live music conversation podcast, diving deep into the music of 1995. This is our first expansion into the 52 universe from our sister podcast, 52/1995 Movies. I am your host, Alyssa, and I am joined this week, as always, by my fantastic co-host, Cody. Cody, say hi to everybody who's out there listening.
Hi to everybody out there that's listening.
For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, if you're here for the first time, welcome. Thank you for being here. We'd love to have you. And we're really glad you're here. But if you want a rundown of what we do each week, 52 weeks in a year, we're going to explore a different album from the year 1995. We're going to dive deep into the year's important releases, really discuss them in detail. And I'm going to chat with my co-host here about their thoughts and experiences with the music. And each month we do have a different theme or genre that we are working with. This month we have a theme rather than a genre, and we're talking about debut albums this month. And today's album that we are going to cover is the self-titled Ben Folds 5. So Ben Folds 5 by Ben Folds 5, their debut album from 1995. Now, before we get into it, into the details, I want to welcome in our guest Cody, and also ask him, and Cody, I want to ask you, what do you have memories of this album? What is your experience with Ben Folds 5 or even Ben Folds? What are your first impressions here?
So Ben Folds was really one that I knew about, I think, on the next album, because that's when he gets his first big radio play. I assume that a lot of this album is probably played on college radio stations a lot. It gets a lot of college radio play. But yeah, when he came out with Brick, which is probably his biggest hit of all time, that is the biggest and most well-known song that Ben Folds come out. That's the song I knew. And weirdly, that's unlike Ben Folds. It is such a sad, serious song, and it has the piano elements to it, but when you compare it to some of his other stuff, his other stuff seems a little bit more upbeat, jazzy, really lays on the piano. Obviously, he, I think, only does 2 or 3 albums as Ben Folds 5, as the whole group Ben Folds 5, and then goes off and does a solo album. But I really got into Ben Folds probably um, senior year of high school into freshman year of college, and then I was able to basically have access to his entire discography because of music sharing and things like that at the time. But yeah, I would say that was the time frame of when I really 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 got into Ben Folds. I love Ben Folds.
Okay.
He's weird, like I don't know. He's an interesting guy,
It's
and
different.
it is different. It's so different, and like you can see um or hear what are influences to for him, or I put a couple of them down in my notes for like these are so similar to it's like a modern version of these things.
Hmm.
So you get to see that elements in all of his anything that he's ever done. He's very funny, I think. He has
Hmm.
a lot of like funny songs or clever songs.
Yeah.
He has a lot of songs that have to do with current events. I remember, and I haven't listened to Ben Folds like any of his newer stuff in a long time, but like I remember him putting out a song about Sarah Palin's daughter and her pregnancy, and the guy he like wrote a song from the perspective of the guy that was Sarah Palin's daughter got knocked up by, and he does a lot of that stuff, and he even does it on this album, and like sings a
Yeah.
song from the perspective of a different person, and it might be a historical thing, it might be a current event thing, but he likes to do that too.
Hmm.
And he's also like the kind of guy that would pop up randomly on as a guest or as a host on singing shows, uh,
Okay.
or not a host, but a judge. He was on the one that Pentatonics and all those people came from, the Sing Off.
Oh,
The Sing Off.
okay.
Yeah, Ben Folds was a judge on the Sing Off.
That's fun.
Yeah, and you get that, like you're like, why would Ben Folds be that? And then you listen to an album like this where he's got the whole Ben Folds 5 behind him, and then you hear like, oh,
Hmm.
this makes sense why he would be in a singing competition. Because you hear him sing, you're like, yeah, he's fine. Like he can carry a tune and he's got a different voice, but I don't know why he would be on like a acapella singing competition. And then
Hmm.
kind of hear some of the stuff and you're like, okay, that makes sense. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree with a lot. So I've never listened to Ben Folds or Ben Folds 5. You actually, when we were talking about this last week, you're like, oh, surely you know Brick, and you played it for me. I'm like, never in my life have I come across a Ben Folds or Ben Folds. I've always heard the name. I've
mhm.
always been like, yeah, that's a person, that's a thing. People like him. I did not know in my mind, and for this was for a long time, I would get Ben Folds and Bon Iver mixed up. That was before listening to either of them. I
I was about
know
to say very different. Yeah.
very different, but it's like Bone and Ben, and I think it was like that was I heard about them around the same time. I think when I went to college, like that's when like their names got brought up. And
Mhm.
Bon Iver was very big when I was in college.
Mhm.
Um, Ben Folds not so much. I mean, Ben Folds 5 was actually coming back. They broke up, came back to the final album in 2012. So maybe that's why their names got thrown in the same sphere. But I didn't really listen to either of them. I've listened to more Bon Iver since, but I've never jumped into Ben Folds or Ben Folds 5. So this is all my first experience, but I would agree with that. He is witty and funny, very tongue in cheek. Like the the songs have like a lot of commentary
Mhm.
in a funny way, and it is so different. Like it is, I didn't know what to expect, but I pressed play and I went, oh, this is gonna be fun. Like I had no idea what I was in for. There's so much piano, it's all piano,
It's all
and
piano. Ben
and
he's
like
so talented on piano. It's
and like fun jazzy piano and like crazy chords, and like I actually kind of like his singing voice. Like it's unique. It's not like Josh Groban like levels of beauty, but like it's it's just unique voice, and he gets the point across and he can hit the notes, and it goes well with the piano. They
mhm.
mesh together well. I feel like how he plays and what he's singing and how he's singing it. It's all a vibe.
Yeah,
But it's very different than what we've been, and compared to like anything that we've done thus far. Do you feel, and this is maybe again very limited knowledge. You have more knowledge, and you've heard Ben Folds before. Does this feel 1995 to you?
I honestly think it does. Like, I don't get 1995 out of this. I wanted to say, like, it's weird to say something is like timeless,
Yeah.
but it does feel like I can't pinpoint a time and say, okay, this is music from this time period or from this
Hmm.
time period. Like, I could see like maybe some like 80s influences with like a Billy Joel type of person, or even a Paul Simon, who,
Hmm.
who also has very similar songs to this, and storytelling songs, and uses isn't traditionally always a pop singer.
Yeah.
But with Billy Joel, you at least have the piano, or even Elton John is a good comparison too,
Hmm.
to him. And I didn't even think about him with my pairings or anything, but Elton John is a great pairing for Ben Folds, because especially like early Elton John has a lot of like fun songs. I'm thinking about like
Hmm.
Saturday Night is a Night for Fighting, and Crocodile Rock, and some of those
Crocodile
songs.
Rock.
Yeah, like those are very fun, upbeat songs. And Elton John is obviously a talented musician. So I didn't even think about that. But like, even those guys that I'm naming, I'm like, yeah, they never felt like Elton John doesn't feel necessarily like 70s or 80s to me. He is,
Hmm.
the music that he plays is very timeless. Like Billy Joel is kind of a similar way too, and Paul Simon kind of similar too. And Billy Joel had like a doo-wop phase there for a little while, but which
Hmm.
kind of dated him. But like, other than that, they're just, I don't know. It does feel timeless to me.
Yeah, I agree. There's not a heavy synth. There's not like any particular like lyrics or vibe, or and actually the entire album, this is like a fun fact, there are no lead guitars on this album. And again, we are talking so heavily about the piano, but there are no lead guitars at all. And I think that's very interesting, because that is very, if I think whether it's 90s grunge, 90s country, 90s pop, it is very guitar heavy and guitar forward. So to do something so different is one, interesting and entertaining, but two, it kind of helps with the timelessness of it. Maybe it is the piano of it all, or maybe yeah, it just doesn't feel dated. It feels like this album could have been released yesterday,
Hmm.
which I think is very impressive, like
And
off the jump.
And I'll ask you, because this is your first time listening to it, what
Mhm.
genre would you say he falls in?
I mean, I have no clue. This whole month has been like a genre existential crisis. Like
Yeah.
when I look it up, it says alternative. And I'm like, well, yeah, I probably wouldn't classify this as pop, in the way I would maybe classify Elton John or Billy Joel. Now, I actually, those are both part of my pairings. I have a lot of pairings, but Elton
Mhm.
John and Billy Joel both came up as influences to Ben Folds. So, like, he is heavily inspired by the two of them. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that checks. So they
Yeah.
are both in my pairings. But yeah, I wouldn't say that, like, when I think alternative, I think, Garbage last week.
Yeah.
I think, we've talked about Blink 182, even Wilco, however I feel about Wilco, that is an alternative form of music because it's not straight pop or not straight country. It's that Americana that we were talking about. So yeah, I don't know. Where do you put piano music in a genre? Is it just, is piano its own genre in a
Piano
way?
rock, like,
Yeah, because like I think of this isn't jazz. I mean, it's jazzy, but
yes,
I would
there's a lot of
never
jazz stuff in
wouldn't
there.
classify this as jazz,
Ben Folds described it himself as punk rock for sissies.
which I love. I love that very much. Yes, I'm like that is punk rock. It's punk rock for
Punk rock for
sissies.
sissies.
It's alternative, and I think that's like the only, again, such a wide umbrella that you can put five different bands under the umbrella, and all five of them sound completely different. Um, just because we just don't have the wide enough of a net, I feel.
Hmm.
I feel like piano rock is, or piano pop or piano rock is what I would classify this as.
Yeah. And I think he also, like, especially as he grew up, maybe went solo. And I'm going to refer to Ben Folds 5 as mostly Ben Folds, even though I know that there are two other members, or to the band. But like as he grows up, it's like, you know, when we were kids and there was like adult contemporary stations. Do
Yeah.
you ever remember there being that like adult contemporary
Yeah.
station? Yeah, like soft rock. Like
Yeah.
that is kind of what I throw Ben Folds, like a blanket term around Ben Folds.
Okay.
Is like, okay, this is soft rock. You like, this isn't too crazy. And that's, you know, punk rock for sissies is a great way to put it. Alternative is not a good way to put it, I think.
Yeah.
Alternative to the fact that he's doing something different than other
Mhm.
people.
Yeah. Well, when he said it's punk rock for sissies, it was specifically a reaction to the prevalent angst in 90s rock. Like this album is not full of angst. There are some angsty lyrics I'm sure
Mhm.
that we can like pick out and whatever, but like the tune and tempo and the instruments are so upbeat. This is again almost like counterculture, which I understand that grunge and rock are the counterculture, but this is the counterculture to the counterculture,
Yeah.
which again makes it punk rock in and of itself, but it's like anti-angst in at least in its sound, and it's very interesting.
It's like closer to Britpop than it is to any of the other things that we've discussed. Like you said, alternative, like it. And I think there are a couple other bands that are doing this at this time as well. One of them is My Pairing.
Yeah, well, I've
During
been
this specific time period.
yeah, well, to no one's surprise, I have been thinking I have had the song Disco 2000 from Pulp stuck in my head for a week. I mean, like we were listening to it obviously months ago, but this week in particular, I'm like, let's all meet up in the year 2000. And I wonder if that's why. I wonder if it's because this is reminding me a little bit of Britpop.
Yeah, it's like if we had our own little Britpop thing going on, it would be I would throw him in here or them in here and a couple other bands. One of them is My Pairing. So
Okay. Very good. I appreciate it because this is such an I have so many thoughts. I have not I mean not so many thoughts. There's like so much to say and nothing to say about this.
well, whenever I thought about this album and you specifically, I thought I thought you would like it
Mhm.
mostly because of maybe some interest in the bands like AJR. I get
Yeah.
AJR vibes from this. I get a little
Ooh.
Lawrence vibes with this. I get a little like um that type, like even like I know you like John Bellion and everything like that, but
Mhm.
lyrically, like some of his stuff that he does, I'm like a little bit of that. He doesn't have the hip hop thing going on here,
Yeah.
but those other, it's like if John Bellion and AJR, well, I guess they are kind of similar, but
Well, I say John Bellion very heavily influenced AJR, but when you say AJR, I fully agree.
yeah,
They love to use every instrument they can, including piano.
hmm
And actually one of the guys, his main he started play with when the band started, his main thing was keyboard, piano. It has now moved on to synth. But especially early AJR, very heavy on piano and synth. And also again singing about things that are like a cultural commentary. But I did like this. I will say overall, general statement, I did like this album, especially again, I turned this on and I was like, let's go. Like
yeah,
I was like fun piano. I'm like, like I just it's chaotic in a way. I was like, this is so much fun. I do feel like it kind of petered by halfway through the album. I said, okay, I am now having a difficult time differentiating the songs. They all kind of sound the same at this point. There are differences, of course. There are some that stuck out to me, but a lot of them did kind of meld together. Again, they're all fun, but when everything's fun and everything's the same speed and
hmm
everything's this high energy piano, it was just hard to listen to as a holistic album for me.
yeah.
I like a little bit of differentiation.
And when I looked, because you know, I listened to this band before Spotify existed, and I can see like the number of plays on specific songs and everything. And as I was going through, I was like, oh, that song didn't get as much because that becomes a staple of Ben Folds and like his concerts, and like those are the songs that are on like his live album. And some of these other songs that got a lot of play, I'm like, I don't know that song as well because he doesn't tour with that song, and it really isn't like the popular song of choice from that album. Then I'm just obviously I'm wondering if like they're listening to the live album, which
Yeah.
this is one of I love a lot. I don't always love a live album. I love Ben Folds' live album. I love Blink-182's live album, just two debuts that we talked about this month. There are certain ones that I love, but I wonder if they get more play from those specific albums than maybe somebody going back, oh, I'm going to go back to the original, or, you know, you go to a greatest hits album or something and they click on that one instead. So yeah, it was a little interesting whenever, because you're talking about like the middle of the album, there's a couple songs in there, and there's one song that I was like, really? Like that song got like super plays and stuff. And it was interesting. So I'm eager to see which ones that you liked or which ones that you were drawn toward. And that's one thing I really enjoy about this, is seeing like your reaction to some of this and whether or not you like it or what songs you end up liking about it. And this one I'm really curious, because it is so upbeat for most of it. There are a couple like slower down tempo songs that are on here, but for the most part it is pretty up tempo.
Very, very, very up tempo, which I'm not mad about. You ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so this week's album is titled Ben Folds 5 by Ben Folds 5. Kittens inspired by kittens.
Garbage by garbage.
Garbage by garbage. No, Ben Folds 5. It is 12 songs long, only 46 minutes, so kind of in the average of what we've been looking at so far this year. A little bit about the artist. So Ben Folds 5 was formed in 1993 in Chapel Hill by Ben Folds. They were a trio, despite the name. The primary motivation behind the name, apart from the band's well-known sense of humor, was just Ben saying it sounds a lot better than Ben Folds 3, which I think is very funny. We said the bit about him referring to his music as punk rock for sissies. Lyrics often contain nuances of melancholy, self-conflict, and humorous sarcasm, often punctuated by profanity. So, and so there's a lot happening here. Again, this is the debut album, was released August 8th, 1995. Considered a non-traditional rock album. So again, in terms of genre, it's not alternative, but it's just non-traditional. And again, this excluded lead guitars completely. So the album is like percussion, piano, a little bit of bass, but it's piano for days. I thought a fun fact was that Ben Folds went to college on a full percussion scholarship. He's played piano since the age of 9, and he's always loved piano, but he got a full ride to college on a percussion scholarship. So, which I'm like, also checks. There's some cool drums in this album too. I think like there's one song towards the end that I was like, ooh, I love these drums.
I think that's like jazz inspiration. It has to be the jazz stuff, like the jazz inspiration. Yeah.
Yes. So I thought that was cool. So again, just a musical guy. In terms of like how well did this album do? Did it chart? It never charted. It did not do well. It was like in terms of like critical reception, people were like, it's fine. But it didn't really do great. Again, received positive reviews. There were 5 singles off of it, but it did not chart. It did, however, spark an intense bidding war that was eventually won by Sony Music. So that's interesting. But that is specifically in the United States. In the UK and Australia, Ben Folds was a little more Ben Folds 5 specifically was a little more popular. I think the one of which song was it? Underground, sorry. Underground did hit number 37. So it did break top 40 as a single in the UK specifically. But overall, like, didn't really hit until we talked about, his the band's second album. The song Brick comes from the second album. That is where things just kind of skyrocket for him in a way. Again, very heavily played on college radio. But overall, like, not very mainstream and never really becomes mainstream in a way, which it is not surprising to me. I don't know how many people are like gravitating towards like heavy piano music. Especially mid-90s, but yeah,
that's why.
Go ahead.
What I was gonna say is like that's why I think Brick is such a like weird song, because it is a slower song. It does feel like the most 90s song. We talk about him kind of being not necessarily in the 90s, and Brick does feel a little bit more dated to the time, even though it
Yes.
does have that same beautiful piano, like even though it is very repetition, it's highly repeated.
Do you think that Brick got popular because of the content?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Because of this, and I think the same thing about other bands. Like, not to downplay Brick, because I think Brick is a great song, but like, I think I was talking about you this last week whenever I was talking about Brick, was "The Freshman" by the Verve Pipe, another song with like very heavy content in it that has like a catchy chorus and is a little bit slower, a little harder rock, but that song has a message in it. I think there were a couple grunge bands, like Pearl Jam has the song Jeremy, which is about a child, it's about teen suicide. And even Blink-182 has that whenever they get to the
Adam song?
Adams song, yeah, Enema of the State. So some of these bands in the 90s are getting those popular. And Adams song is more popular than it should be. Like,
Adam song is very popular.
than it should be. It's a great song. And
Mhm.
Jeremy is a great song too. But they're so sad and so down, like so much downer and so different from what the bands that are giving them.
I mean, Blink-182 sings about farts. Like,
Yeah, and then they're singing about a kid killing himself. So like,
mhm.
crazy. But I
Yeah.
do think the subject matter, especially with it being abortion song, and it being about like young pregnancy, whether it's teen or like even maybe in college age. Um, yeah, I think that just hits with like the Gen X generation or Generation X, and what they're going through, and they're like, oh yeah. And I mean, we say the same thing about the song or the music that we listen to, whether it be a Taylor Swift, whether it be a Wonder Years, whether it be like, I was talking about this past weekend about Wonder Years, and I was like, Wonder Years sings for the 20 to 20-year-old. Like, Wonder Years grew up and like went through these things, and whether it's breakups or pregnancies and children now that they're singing about, like they're
Mhm.
singing about what is going on in our lives currently.
Yeah.
And I think Ben Folds hit on that a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say too, even thinking like Pumped Up Kicks was the one that came to
Mhm.
mind of a kind of a one-hit wonder in a way. Like, would you say Ben Folds is a one-hit wonder?
I would. Again, it's so unique though, because of
Right.
it's
Like, I
it
think
is that it is that band that had that hit song, but is still like mildly popular because they have their own fan base.
exactly. That's how I feel about Pumped Up Kicks. Like, got one popular like radio song. Everybody loves it. Very catchy. Also about super traumatic things. But then you don't really hear from them. But people love that band. Like, and it's just not everybody. So, but that's, I guess, a little more modern one. But it's
But I think
interesting.
another modern one, and I mean, this is a less serious song, but that band that sings like "Shut Up and Dance,"
Walk the Moon.
"Walk the Moon." And I think that "Walk the Moon" is a great example of this, even though their hit song is a way poppier, upbeat song. But like, that is their hit.
Yeah,
And then I know Walk the Moon tours. I see it come up all the time, and
I
they
went.
have. Yeah, you went to a Walk the Moon concert. That's a great.
I will say, you know more Walk the Moon songs than you know. They have the one hit, but there's like four or five other ones that are on like grocery store radio. Like nobody's business. Like
Yeah,
there are just some of those songs I'm like, oh, that's a Walk the Moon song. Oh, that's a Walk the Moon song. Like you don't know, but you hear them like in the background of commercials and stuff.
yeah.
But I agree. Yes, they're like, how's that band touring? It's because of me. But I am that fan base. But yeah, yeah. Sorry, I interrupted.
No. I think that's a great example. I don't know why they popped into my head specifically, but like, because I know they are a touring band, I think, and
Yeah.
like that they have a built-in. Like, I could say the same thing about Lawrence. I could say the same thing about AJR. Like, who the
Hmm.
AJR doesn't even get like radio play, but
Not
they
anymore.
tour like crazy.
Yeah.
Um
Me and the 10-year-old boys
You and the 10-year-old boys love AJR.
love AJR. I can't. They're coming out with that new EP. That was announced like a week ago. There's a new EP coming out, and I'm very excited to hear.
Are they on John Bellion's label, or are they on?
No, they're on something bigger.
Okay.
I think John Bellion only has Lawrence on his label. That might be it. It is very small.
And himself.
And himself now that he's put out his most recent album, but he created the Beautiful Mind label before it was probably created over 6 years ago when he did put out his last album, and he was still on a different label. But that's why he stopped making music, is because his label wouldn't give him his masters, and he just said, all right, you don't want me to you don't want to give me my masters, I'm going to stop making music. And that's what he did for 6 years.
And now he's back, baby, putting out music that you don't like.
Beep, beep, beep. Huge bummer. But anyway, so I want what songs, because I literally made notes for almost every song on this album. So which one stuck out to you?
So I have 5 songs listed.
Okay.
Jackson Cannery, Philosophy, Alice Childress, Underground, and The Last Polka.
Okay. I did not I had Jackson Cannery, Philosophy. I also had a little bit of Julianne. I did not have, I wrote like one line for Alice Childress. I'm surprised you didn't have Sports and Wine or Uncle Walter.
So to be honest with you, we always do that part where we have like a least favorite song on here. I think those fall into like some of my least favorite, but like I don't want to say that I don't like them. I think I did this with Garbage last time, where I was like, there's nothing that I'm like super offended by, or that I was like, I hate this by any means, because I don't think that there are any on here that I was like, I'll skip that song.
Okay.
There was nothing that I was like, I have to skip this song. So yeah, that's the only reason. Because like Best Imitation of Myself is one that is a pretty popular one that he tours. Boxing is a unique, good song. Like, when it comes to, I know you might not have listened to that one as much as some of the others, but I really I struggled with some of those in the middle that I was like, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So
I think we have like totally opposite views on this album.
Yeah.
Because I loved, so high level overview. Loved Jackson Cannery. Loved Philosophy. Julianne was interesting. Alice Childress did not speak to me. Underground, which is the one single that they did not speak to me. I loved Sports and Wine and Uncle Walter. I thought they were funny. I disliked The Last Polka, and I loved Boxing.
We are definitely on total opposites.
We're on complete opposites of this. So I'm like,
you just dumped on 2 of my favorite songs on the entire album.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
They don't speak to me. I agree with you that none of these are bad. Like it's like when you talk about Tarantino movies and you're trying to rank them 1 to 10, 10 doesn't mean 10's bad. They're all 4.5, 5-star movies to you, but you have to rank them, right? I kind of feel that way about this album, as like there's some songs where I'm like, again, nothing's offensive. There's no Jewel.
There's no crazy thing about Jewel. Yeah.
There's no what the ever we talking about here. There's just some that speak to you and some that don't. But we definitely have opposites, which is, I feel like the last few weeks we've been on the same page quite a bit. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I think it's unique too, because the 2 that I just brought up, Alice Childress and The Last Polka. Last Polka is a little bit more up tempo, but like it has that polka like whatever to it. Like, I don't know the thing. I just assumed that you knew what In Time was.
Well, that's in the threefold time. That is the worst polka I've ever heard.
But they're 2 of the slower songs on the album.
Yes. Yes, agreed.
And I think that's so funny that, well, I mean, obviously maybe you like an up-tempo song, and
I do. So
um
that kind of plays to it, I'm sure.
especially when you get used to like a Jackson Cannery or Philosophy, or
Yeah.
um that's unique. That's interesting that you don't like the slower songs on here.
Well, and it kind of goes against my complaint that I gave earlier, was that I feel like the songs started to sound the same, and
Mhm.
the two that sounded different, I was like, no. I don't know why. I just was like, maybe because it was like subverting my expectation. Like
Mhm.
we come out the gate with Jackson Cannery, Philosophy, Julianne, like these like these heavy piano, heavy jazz, heavy percussion, a little bit of bass, like no guitar, very high speed, high energy. And then all of a sudden we have like a slower song, slower, not slow, just
Mhm.
different. And I go, what? So I don't know. They didn't really speak to me.
We can't always agree on everything.
That's okay. Well, let's talk about Jackson Cannery, because the piano goes crazy in this song, and like
It's a great opener.
what an opener. But I looked into like I was like, oh, what's like the song about? What are the lyrics? And the song uses the term Jackson Cannery. The man's name is Jackson, and he works at a cannery. But to symbolize a demanding, monotonous job reduced to a cog in a machine, the lyrics suggest a sense of alienation and a feeling of just a provider for his family, losing his individuality and sense of purpose. It's like, what a bummer
Yeah.
for
I
such
I
an upbeat song.
I read this I guess he did an interview, or he did one of those things where there was a lot more information about individual songs and everything. I liked that he was like, yeah, the song's basically just about that. You can quit at any time you want to, no matter what you're doing, you can quit. And just like, doesn't matter if it's your job, if it's life, if it's like any of the, like, very heavy, but he's like, yeah, we can give
Quit.
up. We have the choice. And a little bit of me was like, wow, like like it's such a fun upbeat song,
I
and
know,
it's
high
very like,
energy.
yeah, very high energy, and then it's just like, yeah, get off the bus. Like, stop this bus. I'm getting off here. Like,
And there's
this
a
place sucks and I'm getting off.
Yeah, and there's a way to spin it in a positive
Oh
manner.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That like you have free will and autonomy, and you can make the choice at any time to choose a different path. It doesn't matter how old you are, how long you've been at a job, or how long you've been with a partner. Like you can do what you need to do at any time. I wouldn't say off yourself, but but it is way darker than, again, you're like like the guy from 101 Dalmatians out here. That's I'm just picturing the human, the blonde human guy in the 101
Oh
Dalmatians who's
yeah.
writing Cruella de Vil in his living room. Like that's who Ben Folds is in my brain. It's just a cartoon man.
I'll tell you, I did not need to listen to this song today, though.
No.
No. I was just like, yeah, I can, Ben Folds. I can just get off this bus.
Oh
You're
yeah, no.
right.
No, this would have been detrimental on a Monday.
Yeah, this is not a Monday song.
Not a Monday
Because he
song.
makes it sound so fun. And like,
I
he's like,
know.
yeah, you hate everything in your life right now? Just quit. Quit the job. Do
Yeah.
something else.
hmm
And I was like,
And
I don't need that right now, Ben.
yeah, and I feel like it's the same for Philosophy as well. Like another great piano intro. The outro is even better than the intro. Again, like you are so distracted by the music in a way that it's like, look what it's like, look what I'm doing with this hand while you don't notice what's happening over
Mhm.
here. It's like, this is upsetting, but hey, it's fun.
It's prettier. Like this, so
Yeah.
we have Jackson, it feels, I don't know. The intro to the Philosophy is that like it's like Disney like. It's the
Yeah.
like, it's very soft and sweet.
hmm
But yeah, you're right. It's just, yeah.
No, I like them both. And I know I had Julianne down, but again, all of these are so much fun. Um, there's what I found was interesting about this song is that there's a line about being a piece of trash or a trash bag, and they literally in the studio filled a bag of trash and dragged it around, and that is the sound that you hear in the background while they're singing about being trash. So like they went All In.
Yeah.
And that song in particular was written about, it was actually making fun of classic 90s grunge songs that talked about failed relationships, but like the denial that the pain of the pain that we feel. It's like, oh, I don't miss Julianne. I'm doing fine. Fuck her. And it's just like, no, you actually are hurting very badly, and you should probably deal with that in therapy. But it's like, again, it plays to his like ethos of being punk rock for sissies, like the
Mhm.
like the counterculture to the counterculture, just doing something different. And I think that's really fun.
And I think this is also a good one of those songs that's not necessarily a storytelling song, but it does give you like so many details. Like, you know what Julianne looks like, you know what their relationship was like, what lack of relationship there was there,
Yep.
or how he downplays that, like that they
Yeah.
even had a relationship. And
Hmm.
how she told him or treated him. Like, you get
Yeah.
so many details in this song. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I want a girl who looks like Axl Rose, you know?
That is a choice. I was like, I know exactly what this person looks like, and I
Hmm.
don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
And then I'm like, Ben Folds is older than me, and that might have been the thing. That, you know, she did look like Axl Rose, so I get it. Good for him. Good for him, I guess.
Yeah,
I wonder what his ex-wife looked like.
I don't know.
I wonder if she looked like Axl Rose.
That would be interesting.
He's had a couple of ex-wives.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's had like 4.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Is he one of those like creative types that's just like, what's that movie, Tick Tick Boom? Like so focused on the craft that he can't hold down a relationship.
I imagine that's what it has to be. I
That's
thought
the
for
vibe.
sure there was a time when he was gonna be with Sarah Bareilles.
Oh.
They were both like judges on the sing off, and I was like, oh yeah, he's got to be cheating on his wife with her. There's nothing about that, but they divorced around the time that was going on. So I was
Interesting.
like, I bet.
Is Sarah Bareilles with anybody?
I don't know.
Oh no, she's been in the industry for a long time too.
Yeah. And she's it's kind of a like similar vibe to Ben
Yeah,
Folds, like piano heavy and
very true.
singer-songwriter, I guess you would call it, or
Way more
um
commercial,
yeah.
not as
Yeah.
heavy.
Regina Spektor, I don't know if you've ever listened to Regina
Yeah.
Spektor too. It's kind of
Oh yeah.
similar vibes to that too, if we were yeah, very whimsical, I would
Yeah.
say.
What's the song?
Yes, yeah. That
That's
is
a
the
great
song.
song. I can't think what it's called. That's okay. What's the next one that you have? Do you have Alice Childress next?
I did have Alice Childress.
Tell me about it. I want you to talk to me about it. Tell me why you liked it or why it stuck out to you.
I liked Alice Childress. One, I feel like this is a song that kind of has hope to it.
Okay.
I really like the chorus of this song. One, the repetition of "Try not to think about it, Alice Childress." Like, I like the chorus to this. But I think the verses are very simplistic, and they're just like, hey, you know, there's some things that you can't change, but just like, you know, have you tried not fucking worrying about it, kind of thing. Like,
Hakuna Matata.
yeah, but it's I don't know, there's some hope in the
true.
song, and I think I liked it musically. It is one of the it might be the slowest song on the album.
Mhm.
Um,
And it's not even that slow.
right,
Like
it's
the
not at
slow
all.
songs are not slow. They're just a slower tempo than the crazy fast ones. There's either crazy fast, fast, and regular, and this is regular.
I also like the harmonies in this song too, especially when they're coming from Ben sings the "Try Not to Think About It," Alice Childress, and then the other two guys come in with the children in the higher and lower harmonies. I think that's so good. I think it's a fun song to sing in your car, which is probably why I liked it so much.
That makes, I do like, there's some of these songs have some good backup vocals. So shout out to, I don't know if he recorded over his own voice or if it's the other guys in the
No,
band.
I think it's the other guys in the band. I think later when he has just Ben Folds, he records his voice multiple times, but you can kind of tell with the different vocalists in the background that it's not him. And this was also written by him and his first ex-wife.
Interesting.
And there are some people out there that think that he says a song about it has like an early thing about how their marriage isn't so good. Her name was Anna. There's a part there where it says Anna arranged marriage is not so good. Anna arranged marriage is not so good. Like kind of that's a swing. That's a swing. But
it's a swing, but maybe.
Who knows?
Mean, when somebody is so clever, you know, who sings about interesting things or has commentary and is quite sarcastic or tongue-in-cheek, maybe it's not too far of a swing. Or maybe it is.
I don't know. But I really like this song. It is not the song that I thought when I first started listening, because I recognized the other songs from his later, like his live album, and that because I probably listened to the live album way more than anything. This is not. I don't think this is one of the songs that is on there that he sings. So,
okay.
I don't know.
Anything else on that one?
No, I got nothing.
Can we talk about Sports and Wine?
Yeah. Did you want to talk about Underground? Or did we already kind of talk about Underground?
We didn't, but like,
you're like, I hated that song.
I just wrote, why does it sound so creepy?
Creepy?
Like, the intro was like kind of spooky.
Oh yeah, where they're I guess where they're talking.
Yeah, it was a vibe change.
But I feel like this is a super fun song, and it feels the most like Flight of the Conchords once it gets into the chorus and things. I feel like it gets really, really fun. There's a lot of like alternating verses, like who's got the looks, who's got the brain, who's got everything. Like it's like a little disco in there a little bit too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like when it gets out of that like I love that intro and how slow and kind of circus like it is at first. It gives it that organ, very creepy circus vibes, and then it finally gets into the verse and it's just like leaves at the underground.
I unfortunately I wrote, why does this sound so creepy? I didn't write anything else about it. And I was like shocked that out of all these songs, that was the one that was like relatively popular.
That's like Philosophy is the best, the biggest song on this one. But
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Based on Spotify?
Yeah, on Spotify.
Okay. Underground was the one that went to number 37 in the UK.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm just like, it's fine. It just didn't resonate with me. I'm also I do like if we like talk about Flight of the Conchords, I do like Flight of the Conchords, but I am never like seeking them out on my own. I only know the Diana from HR, Ian from Accounting song. That's the only one.
I just need to sit down and force you to watch 2 seasons of Flight of the Conchords with me, and
then I'll get it.
And you'll enjoy it, and you'll just be like, this was good.
This was good. I also think of the show Big Mouth, where the one guy from Flight of the Conchords is a recurring character and voice. And he's a hormone monster, and it's insane and very funny.
So tell me about Sports and Wine. Tell me why you like it.
One, it's a commentary on gay panic, which is very fun. But yeah, it's like, I think it's still very relevant to today, where like the conversation we talk about masculinity and the loneliness epidemic, and I was like, you're lonely for a reason. And the sports viewing is typically male dominated, wine drinking is female dominated, and you're trying to like overcompensate and be super manly and masculine to let people know that you're not gay, and it's like everyone needs to calm down. and I like that. Again, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's upbeat, fast-paced. I also really like the bass in this song. This was the first song that like it was kind of less it was still piano forward, but I'm like, oh, I can hear another instrument, and it's the bass, and there's like this do.
I think this one too with the piano kind of like, especially at the beginning, I think it's at the beginning, Or the
Yes.
drums with the piano. It kind of
Yes.
sounds like a piano version of a Jet song. Is it that do 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 do? Yeah.
Yes,
It
I
changes
love
a little
that.
bit, but yeah.
Love that connection. That is very funny. But yeah, I just kind of liked it because it's like sports and wine, sports and wine. Yeah, Jet is a great pairing for this song. Like I'm like, damn. As soon as you said it, I'm like, now my mind is blown, and now I'm like, okay. But yeah, I like that one. I don't know why it stuck out to me. I think maybe because like at this point, some of the songs are starting to sound the same, or I was just kind of like, and again, this one sounds the same. This one sounds similar to like Jackson Canning, and it sounds they all kind of sound similar. I don't know why this one brought me back in. Maybe because it was like the simplicity of just saying sports and wine over and over and over again. I'm like, I know what they're saying, and I'm just like, I just want songs that make me go like this.
I like songs that make me want to
Play your bass up by
play
your
my bass
chin.
up here.
Doom, 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 doom. I have this as a side rant. Oh, Kelly. Okay. If I say I'm gonna play air guitar, this is a complete tangent, okay, but it reminded me of something. If I said I'm gonna go play air guitar and I go, how am I playing the guitar?
Not very well.
Am I play? Okay, that's not the reaction I wanted. In my mind,
You were like this. It's like you're
I
playing an
like-
ocarina. Like up at your mouth.
I did that to somebody once. I was like, and they're like, have you ever seen a guitar before? And I was like, no. I mean, yes. I'm like, I'm holding it here. I'm like on the neck, and I'm like playing really. Like,
yeah, but you're finger picking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of the time when you're playing like a fake guitar, you gotta strum. You gotta.
I don't play actual guitar.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying with the fake guitar that you're playing, the air guitar that you're like using both fingers. Most people only do the one finger, like.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. They were like, that's a piccolo. And I was like, no, that's an air guitar.
You're playing a mandolin right now. I'm pretty sure that's a
This
banjo. You're just a banjo person.
I do love a banjo. This conversation happened in literally 2013, and I'm still thinking about it.
Man, who was it? Do we need to
His
put
name-
him on?
His name was Tyler.
Tyler. If you're out there, Tyler, she still
don't-
thinks about how much you destroyed her mind.
Yeah, he just said, have you ever seen, he played guitar. And he goes, have you ever seen a guitar before? And I was like, that was rude.
Have you ever met you? Nobody
Rude.
gets this.
No. And
Beautiful.
I see in chat, I don't know if I love sports and wine. I do love wine. Sports are fine. But drinking wine while like watching baseball, that sounds like a good time.
We don't drink enough wine at baseball games. You're right.
We don't drink enough wine at sporting events.
We
Can
need
you-
more wine.
Rosé, like Chardonnay, tipsy at the Red Stadium. I'm in.
What if they had boxed wine at a Savannah's Bananas game?
What if we played Slap the Bag?
Oh, hell yeah. Now we're talking. Slap the bag every time they get like a double or something or strike
Oh my
out.
God.
Oh my God, I'd slap it.
The Savannah Bananas are playing Slap the Bag in the dugout.
That
1000%.
probably are. That's a good idea. Contact us, Savannah Bananas. We've got a good idea.
We have ideas.
We have the meats.
We have the meats. I also liked Uncle Walter because I thought it was funny.
It does play off like more of a, I don't know why. Well, we watched Mallrats earlier this year and it made me think of Mallrats because he talks about his cousin Walter. He has like 3 stories about his cousin Walter in that movie.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I was just like, I couldn't not think about cousin Walter, and then Uncle Walter falls into that drunk uncle category.
Yeah.
That drunk Bobby Moynihan character from Saturday Night Live plays a great version of this. And
Yes.
that's all I get. Like those things combined, I was like, this is what the song is. It's a funny song.
Maybe that's why I liked it because I'm like, this is relatable. Everybody has that one weird uncle that just gets drunk and talks too much, and you're just like trapped in the conversation with them. I think that's why I like the song. One, it was funny, but two, it's like this is a life experience that everyone has that no one is singing about. We
And
should
if
start singing about it.
and if you don't have the weird uncle,
You
you're
are the
the
weird
weird
uncle.
uncle. Yeah.
It's like the gay cousin.
If
If you don't
you
know
don't
who the
have a
gay
gay
cousin is, you're the
you're
gay
the gay
cousin.
cousin. So
Everyone's got a weird uncle. Everyone's got a gay cousin. Everybody's a little gay.
just take a
According to
look in
Honey
the.
Boo Boo.
That's right. Everyone's a little gay. Take a look in the mirror.
Self-reflect.
Yeah, reflect on yourself and figure
It's
out if
okay.
you're the gay cousin or the Uncle Walter.
It's okay if you're the weird uncle. It's okay if you're the gay cousin. You say, I'm the weird uncle and I'm proud.
Or you could be a weird gay uncle.
Oh, even a gunkle.
Uh-huh. But you're weird. And you've got really ridiculous political views that don't match anything that you're talking about.
You're like, what? I
It's like,
don't think that's how that works. But you know what I mean. Everyone's been trapped in that kind of conversation.
yeah. Yeah.
What other ones do you have? The last polka?
The last polka was the one that I had. The best imitation of myself is one of his more popular. Like I said, this is one of his more popular ones and I didn't really love it upon listening to it, but I really like the last polka because I like how it changes as the song goes on.
It does.
As the fighting intensifies, so does the piano.
Mhm.
And it's reminiscent of obviously Mountain Goats No Children comes to mind when I think about that.
That I had the exact same thought.
And I was like, oh, this is like pre No Children. And this is just a great fighting of a married couple that is about to get a divorce. And
Yeah.
you know this man, you know this woman,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I really liked it, and I like the sha-la-la. I think the sha-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la lee is very funny to me.
I think this is, and here's where my problem is, because I agree with you 100%. I also had the thought that it reminded me of Mountain Goats. I love the percussion in this song. I was like it was very percussion forward. I'm like, this is great. I like you said, how it changes as the argument intensifies. Again, the storytelling is really good in a lot of these songs. Is it technically a polka? In terms of like the timing that it's in, the 1 2 1 2 3, oh 1 2 3, oh 1 2 3. Yes. It is the world's slowest polka on the face of the planet. Like, it is too slow for it to be a polka song, because it's kind of like saying like violin versus fiddle. Right? Fiddle is very specific in the same way that not all 3/4 time songs are polkas. Could I polka to this? Sure. I'd much rather foxtrot. Foxtrot fits this way better. Even tango. Tango fits this a lot better. Polka does not fit this. And even tango is supposed to be in the 4/4 time. Anyway, that unfortunately threw me off enough for me to dislike the song. I am so sorry.
I knew you would get too in the weeds with your polka knowledge.
This is who I am. I'm sorry. This is me polkaing.
I challenge you to choreograph a polka to this song and make it work.
Oh my God. No.
You can't deny my challenge.
I will attempt it, but it is so slow. It is so slow for a polka. I did
This would be like if I saw somebody do this song on So You Think You Can Dance, I could see this being so awesome.
I need, you know what? If someone's done it, I'd love to see it. I have choreographed.
Look it up now.
I have choreographed a polka to the song Seven Deadly Sins by Flogging Molly. Which that's a polka. You want to talk about a polka, but we'll talk about that. But
don't get in the weeds with your polka knowledge. Just because you're from Polka Land, USA, doesn't mean that you get to tell Ben Folds about his last polka.
That's true. I do like the idea of it being a polka as opposed to a tango, because the tango is usually the Tango Maureen. Like, and that tango's because it's a sensual, sexy dance, and like that's usually the one that's like personified
Hmm.
to be a song about couples. Like the Tango Maureen is, it's like sexy but mysterious and like negative in a way. But it's like the polka, oh, maybe again it's subverting expectations. The polka's chaotic and upbeat and supposedly fun, also a heavy cardio workout. But if I were to listen, like again, this is quite upbeat and it is pretty intense, but like in a negative way because it's an argument. So again, maybe that's like subverting the expectations. It's a
Hmm.
polka, and it's like it's not a polka.
Polka, 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 polka.
We're doing great.
I knew I could get you to go crazy on this.
Do you have any thoughts on boxing?
I like the idea of boxing more. It's probably the song I want to listen to the least
Okay.
on the album, but like I love the idea that it's telling that story of between Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali from the perspective of Muhammad Ali. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
It also is reminiscent of like Mountain Goats a little bit in some of the way
Yeah.
that they have like songs. They have an entire album that's about the Guerrero fam or wrestling, and
Mhm.
there's one song that's about Chavo Guerrero, and it kind of feels like that a little bit, telling that story of them. So I
Mhm.
like that part of it. I like it more. I like it more in theory than I actually did enjoy listening to it.
Okay. No, that's fair. And I agree. This like the perspective, the storytelling. I also feel like it can because I've listened to it first without looking into like what it was, like who it's about. So to me, I was like, this can be about more than boxing. It could be just
Mhm.
about like fighting or like fighting for your life or like in that kind of a like just trying to get through. And I very much liked it. Again, it was different than anything else on the album. This was, I feel like, a truly slow song, and I did really like this one as opposed to the other ones that were a little slower.
Yeah.
We get strings in this album, which was a fun little curveball. I think it's also an excellent ending. Like even the outro, like
Yes, it.
it is
That is a good point. I like
a
that.
cinematic ending to this album. I think this was the perfect song to end on. I also have a side note that this is not going to resonate with you, but I was listening to the intro piano, like to do, and I'm like, this sounds identical to. It almost kind of sounded like Vienna by Billy Joel in the
Mhm.
intro piano. But then I was like, no, that's not where I'm going. Like, what does this sound like? And it is nearly identical to the intro song, "Still Hurting" in the musical The Last 5 Years.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was like, where is this from? Where's this from? And I like was like, let me like, is it The Last 5 Years? I played it and I was like, oh, this is near identical. And the last 5 years came after this. I'm kind of wondering if there was some type of
He ripped him off.
I don't know. I don't know if or an influence or I saw that Ben Folds has done a lot of work with other artists, but I did not see anything in like that space.
But
So
I did like what you were saying earlier about like this being a perfect outro because and I think bookend wise, we do have a perfect intro and a perfect outro song to
yes.
this. But yes, this one plays out and it almost feels old timey. Like,
Yeah.
um, I don't even know what time period I would say. Like it almost like ragtime esque time period.
Yeah.
It has that feel to it a little bit.
Hmm.
So
I agree. Cool. Anything else to say about these songs?
no, not at all.
Which one was your favorite?
The two that you hated.
I'm so sorry.
I was gonna say Alice Childress was my favorite song, and then I listened to the album again today, and I was like, I do love Alice Childress, but I think I like the last polka more. I think how chaotic it gets and the
Yeah.
story that it tells. I think that's what really got me going. So I
Mhm.
think that one edges out Alice Childress a little bit more.
And what's your least favorite?
I just like I said, I don't think that I really had one that like best imitation of myself, maybe
Okay.
videos fine, like fine.
Yeah.
Uh, Julianne's fine. Where Summer Bee is kind of forgettable.
Yeah. I didn't write much for that one.
So
Yeah. I said my favorite was Uncle Walter and Sports and Wine. But that my least favorite was The Last Polka. I'm very
Total
sorry.
opposites. Total opposite. Like I honestly had Sports and Wine and Uncle Walter as my least favorites at one
I
point.
I thought, and I, well, you, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's going to say it, which is why I asked first before I said mine. But that's okay. We just have different vibes.
Because I don't need to be told about masculinity. I am toxic masculinity.
Okay. I am toxic masculinity. Do you have a favorite lyric?
I had pulled lyrics from Alice Childress, where it says, "Alice, the world is full of ugly things that you can't change. Pretend it's not that way. It's my idea of faith. You can
Mhm.
blow it off and say there's good in nearly everyone. Just give them all a chance. Now let's give them all a chance." I really like that.
Very good. I had two. First one I pulled was from Julianne, and it's the truth of it is I feel guilty for not giving a shit, which I just thought was funny.
Mhm.
And I have also quite a few lyrics from the song Uncle Walter. It's just like, hey, 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 like it's like you're, because the funny part is that this is not, if Ben is the lead, the perspective, it is not his uncle, it is his friend's or his partner's Uncle Walter, not his uncle, which makes it so much
Yeah.
worse. So he's like, hey, hey, hey. And then in the background, it's like, your Uncle Walter's going on and on. You're back so late. Where did you go that you were gone so long? How could you leave me here so long with Uncle Walter? Like, it's so fun. Like, or it's like you're yelling at your sibling and you're just like, don't leave me with this. Like, it just made me laugh a lot. I just thought it was silly. And that's why I pulled those lyrics.
I love it.
What are your music pairings? Because I got quite a few.
For the time period, specifically 94, 95, 96, Weezer. This is a very Weezer album to me.
I dig it.
Because it has the comedy, it has the and I'll go ahead and say one of my other ones, Beach Boys feel to it with like the harmonies and stuff.
Okay.
That it feels very Beach Boys when you kick in those harmonies, and especially like Pet Sounds and beyond Pet Sounds, where they're not just singing about California girls and they're actually, singing other songs like
I'm picking up
Good Vibrations is a great one, or God Only Knows, those kinds of songs. And that's what this kind of feels like a little bit. So Weezer, Beach Boys, Something Corporate.
Okay.
For the piano heavy, pop
Yeah.
rock is different, especially Something Corporate's very similar in the regards of like, hey, I'm a part of this pop punk community, but I'm playing piano. It's kind of similar to like when Yellow Card was like, hey, we're part of this. I have a violin.
Yes.
But Something Corporate, like Something Corporate and Jack's Mannequin are very piano heavy, and I think they directly I forget the dude's name. I think he draws a lot of inspiration from Ben Folds and has cited that before. I also noticed that the guy from 21 Pilots said that he had direct inspiration from, like, Ben Folds is one of his biggest inspirations.
That checks.
And then the Beatles, specifically Sgt. Pepper album.
Well, you paired Sgt. Pepper album with another one from this year, I feel like.
Pulp, I think.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you pair Pulp with?
Yeah, I could see that. I could see pairing Pulp. I also paired Beatles Sgt. Pepper with the Pretty Odd album by Panic at the Disco. I think that is their Sgt. Pepper album as well.
Yeah.
So those are my pairings.
Very good. We actually mentioned quite a few that I've had. So I had Billy Joel and Elton John for the piano influences, and that was like quoted that they have influenced Ben Folds. I had Regina Spektor, because again,
sorry, I just trashed all over yours.
No, I got two others that you don't have. Weird Al.
I wanted to mention him at one point.
So Ben Folds has worked with Weird Al, like has written with him. So like after this, so makes a lot of sense. Again, the funniness, the tongue in cheek, the clever lyrics, and like obviously Weird Al is way more like explicit in his in what he's singing about, but apparently they've worked together quite a bit. So I thought that was a good pairing. And do you know the band Jukebox Ghost?
Jukebox Ghost? No, never heard of them.
So they had a one-hit wonder in like 2017, I want to say, called Everybody's Lonely. But they also have a song called Fred Astaire, and that's my favorite of theirs. Very piano heavy. The lead singer is a piano player. I would put them in the alternative piano rock space. A lot of like again very up tempo, very piano heavy. I would guarantee that if we looked up Jukebox Ghost, they would say Ben Folds is an inspiration.
Do you think Mika could be involved in this too?
Ooh, yeah, I do love Mika. Um, yeah, again, another like piano alternative.
Yeah.
I would even put Mika as more alternative than Ben Folds.
Yeah.
Like
could see
very
that.
very Tumblr, but also more in the pop space than in the rock space.
Mhm.
Alternative pop, I would maybe say. But again, very heavy piano. I could be brown, I could be blue. Damn it, that's a great song. I'm like, yeah. Would you recommend this album to a friend?
I think so. I think I could recommend this to somebody. I think the timelessness of it helps its cause. It would have to be somebody that isn't like looking for a rock album though.
Yeah.
And I could, yeah.
If someone's just like, I love piano, and I'm like,
Oh,
do I
yeah.
have the album for you?
Be like, oh, you like Regina Spektor or Sarah Bareilles or any of those? Let me give you a guy. If you haven't already heard of Ben Folds and you're into that music.
Have you tried listening to Men?
Have you tried being a real feminist?
We're canceled.
So canceled.
So canceled. I agree. I would recommend it. I did like it. I can't think of like a specific person in mind, but yeah, if someone's like, I really love piano music, or I love even like something like jazz, or like you said, Sarah Bareilles, I'd be like, hey, have you heard of Ben Folds? So it's good to have in my back pocket.
Yeah, I think so too.
So what's your rating out of 5 stars?
I give it 4 stars.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like this album a lot. More than I thought, because I like the later Ben Folds albums more and had played those more than this one. But I like this one a lot. What about you?
I gave it a 3.75.
Okay.
I know I'm stupid with the ratings, but again, comparing it to other albums that we listened to this year, I gave Bjork's album a 3.75, but I like Bjork's album more than this one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was about to be a 5-star album for me when I heard like the first song. I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. If this is how the whole album's going to be, fantastic. And then that was how the whole album was. And then I go, okay, it was less fantastic than I thought. I also don't know if I'm going, as much as I love Sports and Wine and Uncle Walter, I don't know if I'm going to add those to any playlist that I have.
Yeah.
But like for what it is, for what the album is, for what it does, it's unique. I do love a unique vibe. This is totally different than anything we've heard this year. Again, we've compared it to the Britpop, but still, it is unique in its own space. I got to give it its props for that. So that's why but I couldn't give it a full 4.
Do you think that you'll maybe look at some of the other songs on the other albums?
Yes, I would like to go further into Ben Folds or Ben Folds 5. Probably more so him as a solo artist, just because that's what he's currently doing. And more recently, still putting out music. I think 2024 was his last album. So I am interested. I dig the vibe. He's influenced it seemingly a lot of folks that I do like listening to. So I'm interested in more. I just don't think this album is the one for that I'm gonna go back to.
Yeah. And I think that's probably typical of it. I think the next album for Ben Folds 5 is probably their highest regarded album.
Yeah.
And then his first solo album is one that I probably played way more than anything else.
Okay.
And then I love his live album. So that's it. That's what I'm recommending to you. So
I love it. I love a recommendation. Speaking of recommendations, as we wrap up this conversation, is there any like recent recommendations for this week that you have?
Oh my goodness, I always get surprised. I'm always surprised. No, I guess I don't.
That's okay.
I'm so sad all the time because I don't have anything. I never listen to anything.
That is okay.
What about you?
I have one song, and it's mostly a homework assignment. Um, let me look it up real quick because I don't have my Spotify pulled up. Uh, okay, so the band is called Pool House. All right, I heard them on the TikTok, as one does,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a song called "Could Be Love," and it's cute. It's giving teenage dirtbag. It is the vibe is like Wheatus teenage dirtbag, and I think that's very fun. But this girl on so again, it relates back to TikTok. There's this girl on TikTok. Her name's Rachel. She is, I think, in like the producer space, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like, I really like this song. I think, and it goes, I think it could be the next teenage dirtbag, but I think it can be better if you rearranged it in this way. And and she made this TikTok and she like played on her computer and she did the whole thing and she just made the video about it and the band saw it and they were like, this is fantastic. We are going to change the song. So both versions are on Spotify. The title is called Could Be Love. So there's Could Be Love and then there's Could Be Love Rachel's version. And I've been listening, and like I think they're both very catchy. They're very similar. They didn't change a ton. They just kind of rearranged it and then put some backing vocals in the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still kind of torn as to which one I like better. I like the song. I'm just not sure if I like the original version or Rachel's version better. I think there's elements of each that I like. So now I'm like, we need 1/3 mega song that just merges the things together. But that I did like that. I think interesting band. Again, Pool House is the band. Kind of like their vibe. I'm trying to see what's new out there in like the punk pop space, and
Mm-hmm.
even if they are like a TikTok band, I still think that we can get some good music out of these folks. So I'd like to just know what's out there.
Speaking
So
of Pool House, there's another
mhm.
band you should probably look into that I have been suggested by other people that have been in the stream and everything. The Pool Kids. Pool Kids.
Pool Kids.
Pool
Okay,
Kids.
what's their genre?
Same.
Okay, awesome.
Same.
I'm in.
You'll like it.
Okay.
Maybe.
The baby. Well, probably. I like a lot of things. Even this entire podcast is just me talking about the things I don't like. No, I'm kidding. I like lots of things. But thank you, Cody. Anything else to add? Anything for the beautiful people out there?
No, I'm not the Toxic Avenger. I know that.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing in the chat.
In the chat. Well, if y'all are out there and you're interested in getting more information about our podcast, or you're wanting to, again, we give recommendations. I want to hear your recommendations too. You can either drop them in the chat or you can join our Discord server. We are chatting it up in there about music and movies and video games and current events and all that fun stuff. And you're also welcome to follow us on Instagram. That's just where we post, when the stream's upcoming, what's happening next, what you can look forward to. Next week, speaking of what we're looking forward to, I should look up our album list. Next week is next week's July. This was our this was our last debut album. So next month, guess what genre we're getting into? I'm so excited.
Hip hop.
Hip hop. Did you know that? Did you have that written down somewhere? Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot. I totally forgot. So starting next Tuesday, July 1st, it is a new month, which means a new genre. We are talking about hip hop albums from the year 1995, and we are going to kick it off, of course, with Tupac's Me Against the World, because what else will we kick off 1995 hip hop album a month with? I'm very excited. This is going to be great. So please join us next week. We'd love to hear from you. Listen along, follow along. I also want to thank y'all for tuning in. I hope you had a fun time. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week on 52/1995 Music.
Bye.